Okay, in this exploration of the mathematics of identity and trauma, I want to look at a phenomena around the crystallization of identity. Now, identity typically is very wave-like. As we begin to head home, we start to morph into that identity. And just to be clear, an identity is something we consistently do, say, feel, and think as a consistency. Meaning we have one identity in a bar, one identity with this friend, one identity with that friend, one identity with this partner, one identity at this job. And while there may be variations and fluctuations in that identity, an identity are the common elements that, I always avoid cursing at the job site. That's a part of that identity. Now, there's generally a great fluidity in identity. And what we're looking at is when identity moves from a wave pattern like this into a rigid pattern. And particularly what I'm looking at is the constellation of traumatic identity and how that occurs. And so picture yourself as a 5-year-old little girl. And every day it's the same. Is it going to happen today? Is daddy going to put his penis into me? Is my brother going to hit me in this and that and the other? And the volatility, which is most prevalent in addictive households, the volatility between super nice mom when I did something bad, absolute bitch of a mom when I did something good. There's no consistency. And these direct, unstructured hits on the psyche register as bombs, as enormous shock. And identity is a protection. It is something that stands between the core witness and presence of the psyche and the other person. And what a crystallized identity is, for example, I have been hit once. That's not an identity. Someone hit me and it felt bad, and now they're not hitting me and I feel good. I was hit again. I said it didn't feel good. I was hit again. And at a certain point, the identity shifts from I'm a delightful human being who changes in this to I am the one who gets hit. And I feel the way a hit person feels. And I believe the beliefs that a hit person feels. Every time I'm hit, I feel worthless, so I am worthless. It's not that I feel worthless from time to time. I am worthless. That is my identity. I am worthless. I always feel worthless. I always think that it's hopeless. I am always hit, when I'm in this situation, and I'm hit because I'm worthless and stuff. And so what happens with this crystallized shell is, well, first of all, let's look at the purpose of the shell. The purpose of the shell is stability, meaning these landmine blocks and volatility within the psyche, particularly in a traumatic environment, are terrifying. Because when you're traumatized, it means you're not safe. When you're not safe, the unknown and any change is terrifying. And so people who have been traumatized, fluidity and change is not a good thing, because at a certain point, the uncertainty and the trauma together do not allow the adrenals to collapse down into a calm place. So when you're out of control, in trauma, and anticipating trauma, and do not know when it's going to happen, your adrenals and cortisol levels go up to such high levels of uncertainty that it crushes resilience, it crushes the spirit, it creates profound uncertainty of how to respond. And what allows that to calm down is the crystallization of an identity. I am the one who is unfairly hurt, who nobody cares about, who is worthless, who nobody rescues, who is unfairly treated. That is who I am. These are the thoughts I think. This is what I say. I don't say anything because it doesn't matter and it's pointless and it's useless and whatever. I don't smile because I've got nothing to smile about. This is my abused identity. Okay, so you've got the abused identity and now you've got control. Now you've got the elimination of volatility. This is enormous. Because by not allowing oneself to raise out of that state, one doesn't collapse. And by holding on to the feelings, it's not like, oh, I was feeling wonderful and now I'm feeling terrible. Now I was feeling wonderful and now I'm feeling terrible and I don't know what's going to happen next. No, I felt terrible this morning. If I'm not hit today, doesn't matter. I'll be hit tomorrow. If I'm not hit tomorrow, it's just because my father didn't have enough money to buy beer. I'll be hit the next day. If not by him, by some dick of a guy, I'll be hit one way or another, and the identity is held. Now, when the situation changes, which it often doesn't once the identity is crystallized, because now the person has an investment. Because what this identity is doing is it's crossing out the upside mostly, and because of the upside, see, a lot of the downside comes with shock and being out of control. So if you cross out the upside, you are not shocked as much, which means you don't have to deal with the pain and the surprise and the uncertainty and the shock. You are certain you're going to be punished for something. It doesn't matter what it is. Now, so this is the identity. Now, there is an overwhelming wall of fear, pain, uncertainty, and stress that is the residue of memory in the body that the identity is created to protect against. There is a wall of stress. Now, identities are not healthy. They're coping mechanisms. They're necessary as a coping mechanism in an unhealthy environment. So the question is, someone has an opportunity to get out of the abusive situation, but in order to do so, like you've been invited to go to a college. Oh, I'm not going to apply. It doesn't matter to me. I'm useless. It won't work out anyway. Even if I go, someone will just beat me, so I might as well be beaten here. So that identity can't fill out the college form. So there's maybe a scholarship or something. So there's a possibility that comes in. But to step into that possibility, we've got to leave the old identity and we've got to step into a new identity. And this is particularly tragic when the walls of resistance in the outer reality shift from being very high to almost nothing. And we very much want, it would be life-changing to step into this new identity. And there's no longer any barrier resistance. When you're 5 years old and dad's come home with a beer can and mom's scared of him and this and that, and your brother's an abused survivor as well, and he takes it out. There's no hope for a 5-year-old. And so this is a crystallized identity. But, maybe when you're 20, 25, 26, 30, you're actually with a nice person, you've got a possibility of stepping out of the identity and going back into that liquidity of the dynamic and feminine self that's always changing and responding to the moment. So how do you get out of this identity? Well, the first thing to understand is there is a wall. It is the wall of memory in the biology that says it is absolutely terrifying and life-endangering to let go of this identity. Now, this is not a rational thing, because when you're traumatized, you dissociate, which means there's a part of you partitioned. And if you can imagine a computer, let's say that your computer caught a virus, and the computer was smart enough to take a certain part of its programming and partition it. And it basically says, we will have nothing to do with the other part of the hard drive because it's sick. And we're partitioning and protecting this walled off part. Well, it's okay, walled off. Meanwhile, the hard drive gets a rework, gets updated, etc. But the partition part doesn't get the message, doesn't know that there's a change. And so now the hard drive is in a much better situation, and the identity would be very well served by coming back, but it does not get the message. Instead, its last message in the body and all the different chemicals, etc., is life-threatening. Don't ever come back into here. Avoid uncertainty at all costs. Well, as soon as you open an identity back into flow, it's becoming flexible, fluid, uncertain again. And the real trick in life is knowing when to crystallize into a shape to protect against a hostile energy and force and influence, and when to be permeable so that you can transcend the identity. So this is absolutely key in the process. So there's a wall within the body and the psyche, and the person in the crystallized identity must have help to get out of this. Now, there's a couple of ways this can happen. One is to enter the identity as a loving and intensely loyal and safe witness, and provide within the identity to understand the threat, understand why the partition was, listen to it, hear it, love it, and be absolutely certain that you are there as an ally as you break out of the identity. You will not be alone. You will not be I'm going to be a container for you as you leave this identity, and I'm going to hold this container for you until you can form a new identity in what is a much safer space. You are not going to face this wall of energy alone. Now, this is what good, compassionate witnessing and therapy can do, or a friend or a partner can do this. The other thing that can be done is in a psychedelic journey, where the partitions get dissolved by the psychedelic, and you realize that the environment has changed. Acid is a dissolving boundary thing. And so if you are very clear on the outer sense mentally that what you're dissolving back into is safe and healthy, you can dissolve into a very positive environment, and you can basically, through the mind expansion of the psychedelic, kind of reconnect those lost parts, see how they can fit together best now, and come back together in an integrated state. And the psychedelic often provides a buffer where, because it's ego dissolving, you have a sense of safety outside the limited sense of self. So this is another phenomena in which this can then get dissolved. And finally, you can do regular therapy, exercise, visualization to slowly knock this wall down step by step, expressing the anger, writing anger letters, releasing it, advocating inner child meditation step by step, until this wall gets to a point where it's no longer threatening, and then you dissolve this thing and consciously build a new sense of identity and image. And so this is just a little exploration that I wanted to share to help people in a state of trauma. Thanks for watching.